class, marching, training, and went up to about 11:30. Then we were allowed about an hour until 1, and then back again to school, and really got the real good officer candidates training. That's really what we were. Except that we did get a pay of a lieutenant or whatever we were commissioned for. After about a month of that, we were detailed to Harvard. And so we went up to Harvard and were signed up in an electronics training course. And this was really a full-time, one-semester college course with all stress put on electronics. Although we had other courses, especially military science. So we really got good work out, and I think we had to work something like 12 or 15 hours every day. And then we had homework besides. Anyone who really wanted to continue this assignment at that time, now we knew it was radar what we were studying, he really had to compete, and we had some real smart men in this group who wanted to stay in radar research by all means, and they worked very, very hard. I made some good friends. One was a patent lawyer. He was quite a bit older than I was. Quite a number of the men were older, and I wasn't the youngest after all. That was in 42, so I was 33 years old. And some of the other first and second lieutenants, they were in their 40s. All engineers who had any training at all apparently had been picked for this radar study group. It was an interesting course, a lot of work. Our military training consisted of twice a week, something like, I would say, about 500 officers were marched up in Harvard Square, and the colonel would bark commands. He was physically in very good shape, and there we would have to do push-ups and jumps and this and that, and we had a lot of civilians who were watching us, and they got more kick out of it than anybody else. Also, each individual officer had to learn to give command to a group and march a bunch of officers in a group, in a squad, or even up to company size. Had to march him around the square, give proper commands. He was rated at it. It was good training. Many of the officers brought their wives, and I still remember there was one officer who had brought his young wife. He came from the south. Many of the soldiers came from the south. And one day, when all the men were lined up there, out came the one man with his wife, and he spotted a friend, and the girl yelled, honey child, I'm sure so glad to see you," in a typical southern accent. That poor lieutenant from then on was only called honey child. We had many other interesting occurrences in Cambridge, Massachusetts, at Harvard. As I say, it was hard studying, but of course it was a beautiful place. So we had time, weekends, to travel around the countryside, see New England states. It was late in the year, and we happened to be there at a time when they had the bad fire in the coconut grove in Boston, and quite a few of the men in our group were involved in that. I think one or two didn't come back. So that lasted until early 43, when some of us who didn't have shown the real hard work necessary for research work, we were sent down to Camp Murphy. We were to be put through a real physical training course before they decided what else to do. So we went down to Camp Murphy in Florida, which was north of Palm Beach. It was out in the desert. It was typical desert country in Florida. It was a secret camp, and we had privileges at the Jupiter Country Club, a beautiful, ritzy kind of a place. And every day a tug would take probably 24 men or more over there to the Jupiter Country Club for swimming at the beach. It was a beautiful beach, beautiful country club, and we played golf. We had a wonderful time. Most of our work was done late at night. We really started probably 10 o'clock in the morning after we came in from a swim, and did a little physical training. We had to go through the obstacle course. Got a lot of physical training then in preparation to going overseas. And in the evening then we went to school, and that school taught maintenance of radar equipment. We would have to take it apart and repair it. The instructors would put a fault into the equipment. We had to find it, and at the final test, the matter of finding it was timed. You had to only about 1 or 2 minutes to find the reason why a piece of equipment didn't come on when it should have. After a very short time of this, well, probably a month, 6 weeks, something like that, I don't know exactly how long, out came orders, and we were reassigned to different places. Some went to Air Force fields. I, with about 6 others, were assigned to headquarters, Air Service Command in Dayton, Ohio. So I reported in Dayton, Ohio. It was a bad time to go to Dayton, Ohio during the war. It was overcrowded. I was lucky after a little while to find a room in a private home. Being married, I couldn't live in the bachelor officers' quarters at the field. That was overcrowded too. And so I had to commute from Dayton to Wright Field or Patterson Field, wherever I happened to be working, every day. At first I had to take the bus, which was a dirty kind of a place, because being badly overcrowded, it carried many of the workers from Dayton out to the field, physical workers. And of course, it being in winter in Dayton, it was cold, ice and snow and stuff like that. And me coming from Florida, I was very unhappy. But there again, I went into typical kind of military work in a headquarters building. Design work and a certain amount of field work. In fact, I was rather fortunate in being detailed off on some to a conference in New York. Then I was detailed to a 3 or 4 week stay at Mitchell Field and assigned to an air manufacturing plant there, where they made the P-47. And my job was to really learn the assembly of the engine and any possible sources of ignition noise that could be transferred to the equipment, the radio and radar equipment on the P-47. So I got a few weeks of very interesting work at this particular factory. I forgot the name of it, but anyway, I was stationed at Mitchell Field, And every morning I would get a car and go out to the field, to the factory, stay in the factory all day long, study all I could about maintenance work and noise elimination work. This was really my field, radio and radar noise elimination in the fighter planes. So let's see. My notes here are not anything. Oh yes, while I was stationed at Mitchell Field, I had time to go back and forth every weekend to Brooklyn, where my sister Nellie lived, and I would go sailing with her Albert, her husband. So I did a lot of sailing. Again, I had a real good time. I had nothing else to do in my spare time. I was really fortunate to be close to Brooklyn. And then after a few weeks I went back to Dayton, Ohio. In those days you would, let's say, take a plane, and then immediately you would get flight pay, and financially it was quite something. You made quite a few dollars on that deal. I enjoyed eating in New York Central Station, Oyster Bar. I took in quite a few plays in New York. Money, well, I had plenty of it in those days. Then, while I was stationed in Dayton, Ohio, Marie came for a few weeks, and I enjoyed her company. Her brother was stationed, as he was at that time, he had made a lieutenancy in the Air Corps too, and he was teaching radar at the little field in New Jersey. So Marie had a chance to see a little bit of New York. But then that was getting close to the end. Europe started to be more important than the East Asia field. First, I had been told that my field of activity was mainly the Asiatic field. And they told me in so many words that they are not likely to ever send me to Europe, probably because of my accent. So I was all ready to go out to Asia and did all the necessary work that was necessary. But except for one trip, nothing materialized. OSS then requested that I be transferred to them, but Air Force still had a little higher priority, so they squashed that. Very shortly after that, well, by that time now we are approaching 1944, D-Day. D-Day happened the very next day. I was reassigned to military intelligence and got orders to report at Camp Ritchie in Maryland. Didn't even know where it is, except instructions told me to go to Baltimore and there take a certain kind of a train which will take me there. And so I went down to Baltimore, went on the train, and on the train I talked with a man, and he said, "Where are you going?" I said, "Well, I have orders to go there and there." He said, "Oh yes." I said, "Do you know what it is?" He says, "Yes, it's a secret camp." Camp Ritchie is very close to what they now call Camp David, the President's Retreat, in a beautiful spot in the Blue Mountains on the border of Pennsylvania and Maryland. So we go to Camp Ritchie, which is a camp to train military intelligence personnel in just about everything, starting from physical hand-to-hand combat methods, karate and everything, to language studies of the various armies, recognition of uniforms, anything that may be of interest after we are assigned in the European theater. We learned about the Italian army, among other things.